Alright, good morning ladies and gentlemen. What is up? You are watching AMS Live. My name is Boy. It is Saturday, January 20th, 2024. We're at Polderbound today. Arrivals, wind blowing from the south. And, well, LVNL said that runway 27 was also still in use, but I don't see any airplanes going to that runway. It looks like this is now the only runway being used for arrivals. First airplane, visible in the distance. It's a bit hazy today. Current status quo in terms of weather, wind blowing from the south mostly, 14 knots, few clouds at 3,000 feet. The temperature is right at freezing, 0 degrees. We're not going to see any rain. However, I do believe that we might get a bit more cloudiness as the day progresses. There is cloudy weather coming. Confirmation of LVNL that Polderbound is in fact now the only runway being used for arrivals. And the plan today is at least to stick around until the entire quad squad has arrived. The first of the quad squad to arrive is going to be the Surinam Airways A340, expected in 40 minutes from now. The Emirates A380 is currently over the Black Sea, expected around 12:30, and behind it there is a China Airlines Cargo 747 arriving from Mumbai. And if I'm not mistaken, there was also a special livery Saudia Dreamliner expected around 1 o'clock. The 75-year special livery might stick around until then, but at least until the quad squad has arrived. Of course, assuming no sudden runway changes or anything are going to happen. It is Schiphol Airport after all, you never know over here. Right, first airplane of the day, an Embraer 175 from LOT, flight 265, arriving from Warsaw. 14 years old, first flight November 2009. We can even use a bit of additional digital zoom to keep showing it. Now, the water has opened up over here, no longer frozen, unlike yesterday. We started the day with some sunshine, but in the meantime things are getting more gray, bit nebulous, bit hazy. This is looking to the east. To the south it still looks decent, at least the best view. Looking to the west, and turning back to the north. Sally. Crow family also present again. Duckies as well. Doing what ducks do best, showing their ass. So 6? Did I count 6? I think 6. Right. Now, let's have a look. Our next airplane is going to be an Embraer 190 arriving from Hamburg, KLM flight 1778. Not seeing it yet, should be close by. Oh wait, I think I see something vaguely. Or I thought I saw something vaguely. There we go. Right. Now, it's definitely chillier, more chilly than it was yesterday. Time for me to quickly turn on the heated glove and put the hand warmer in the other glove. think this is going to be the last day of temperatures around freezing. Tomorrow I think is going to be a bit warmer. It is going to be a bit warmer, and we're going to reach double-digit temperatures later in the week, but also more humidity, more precipitation. I think it's going to start tomorrow already, tomorrow morning, so not sure if I'm going to be able to go out tomorrow. We'll have to have another look later tonight. Right, KLM flight 1778 Embraer 190, returning from Hamburg. We are going to see an E2 Embraer 195 behind it, arriving from Frankfurt. And a good morning to everybody who has tuned in already. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're enjoying the weekend. Hope you're nice and warm. Above all. Still have digital zoom enabled from yesterday when we ended the stream with traffic going to center exclusively. I think it is a bit overkill to have that enabled. It also zooms at a different speed than what I have set, so let me go back into the menu and disable it. All right. Vaguely visible, KLM flight 1762 with a 1700 E-Jet sticker, but that's on the left side. Only placed on one side, so we're not going to be seeing it. E2 Embraer, arriving from Frankfurt. 46 minutes of flight time under its belt. A 1-year-old airplane, first flight September 2022. Despite the meter indicating that the wind is mostly from the south, you can see that the airplane is still leaning in a little bit, or at least it was leaning in a little bit towards us when it was still a bit higher. So maybe there is a bit more southwesterly wind blowing just above ground level. They make very typical sounds, both when spooling up, also when throttling down, also when they're landing, and they're landing on Kaagbaan and they pass by my house relatively close by. When you're out there and you hear the sound, that it's hard to describe, but when you hear it, you can instantaneously tell it's an E2. I hear it, I look on flight radar and I can see, yeah, it's an E2. Right, I think, let's see, oh, that's Bulgaria Air. Bulgaria Air, also flying the A220, the number 2. Being preceded by a Vueling A320 Neo flight AD365, arriving from Malaga. Left there 2 hours and 39 minutes ago. 4-year-old airplane already. The first flight of this airplane was in August 2019. Now, unfortunately, as you guys can see, visibility to the north is not that great today. Hope you guys picked up on that. That was that sound again. Those engines, those E2 engines make a typical noise. Don't know what it is, but it's also hard to describe what it sounds like, but once you hear it and you recognize it, it's unique for the E2s. Well, maybe the A220s also make that noise, I don't know. We'll have to have a look and listen when the next airplane lands. They do have similar engines. Oh yeah, and after the de-icing, the airplanes can brake again. So today is the return of butt shots to the channel. And the first butt shot is from Vueling. Now, Jinshin, good morning first of all, and second of all, congratulations with 4 months of membership. Jinshin Rides Time Flies, where you are having fun. Absolutely. Thank you so much for your continued support there as well, Jinshin. Always nice to have you in the stream, and good morning to all other viewers who have joined us in the meantime. You are watching AMS Live. My name is Boy. We're over here at Schiphol Airport where, well, the sun is still out there, but I don't think we're going to see a lot of it today. Unlike yesterday, when we had blue skies most of the time, you can still see some contrails through the thinner clouds, but unfortunately, I think the weather is coming more from the north, even though at ground level the wind is blowing from the south at the moment. Now, let's look and listen. See if we can also hear that sound from the E2 with these engines, which are related. Both the A220 and the E2 Embraers use the geared turbofan engines. Not sure if it is related to that. Bulgaria Air. Bulgarian butt shot also coming in. Nice. See through those engines quite well. Ayo, this capital says another day, another AMS live day. Well, I wish it was another day, another AMS live day. I've been streaming far less often in January thus far than I would have liked. The weather has not been very conducive for streaming. Well, at least for me. As you guys have seen on the pictures by now, most of you will know I have a bit of an elaborate setup. Also not waterproof by itself. Makes it a bit more challenging and a bit more time consuming to set up, and if the runway changes, to move. But it is going to get summery again at some time in the future. So I think it's going to work out eventually. This is KLM flight 777. Obviously not a Boeing 777, but an Airbus A330-200 arriving from Port of Spain. 18 years old, this airplane. First flight October 2005. Good morning to everybody who has joined us in the meantime. Welcome to the show. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're enjoying the weekend, and hope you guys are nice and warm. Similar lighting to yesterday. Morning light, always nice. Now I am officially colorblind, so I would describe this as yellowy orangey, but that's looking at my camera screen. Looking out here, it just looks like a bluish sky. Might have to do with the other white balance of my camera. But it does look nice, I'll say that. Right, the bird controller, is it moving? Yeah, it is coming this way. What's also coming this way is a Dreamliner from TUI flight 370, returning from Willemstad, Curaçao. 7878 Dreamliner, one of the three with the Dutch registration. This one is the PHTFM. 8 years old, first flight March 2015. There's a Finnair A321 somewhere behind it, which I'm not yet seeing. Right. Triple subject shot, duckies, bird controller, airplane. Alrighty. Drum asks if I have an ice hat on. I'm wearing two hats at the moment. A cap with the mic attached to it and a bigger hat. First of all, to make sure that when it's windy, the cap with the mic doesn't blow off my head, and second of all, to keep the eyes a bit warm. I also am wearing a buff, which I also have up a little bit to keep the neck from getting too cold. Yeah, I have to dress for the occasion, and with temperatures around zero, freezing, that is definitely needed. And I'm doing that with layering. Right, Finnair A321, arriving from Helsinki. Couple of big birds next. And the Surinam A340 was expected around, what was it, 10 past 10 if I'm not mistaken. So that is also getting closer and closer by as we speak. Our next airplane is going to be a Delta A330 300, arriving from Detroit, Michigan, flight 136, flight time 7 hours and 3 minutes. The airplane is 6 years old, first flight was in March 2017. Also hearing the departure of a 737. No, that looks like an Embraer going to the north, KLM. Right, let's look and listen. These can get loud, Deltas, A330s. Fingers crossed. Not too bad. And we're going to get a butt shot to boot. Nice freebie. Hey Aphrodite, goedemorgen. Good to see you. Hope all is well. Just in time for the A330 butt shot. Hola. Doing good, doing good. Enjoying a nice and calm winter morning here with some semi-sunshine, let's call it that. All nice and quiet over here. Nice that the sun is coming out. Hopefully it's going to win from the clouds. Hopefully I was wrong with what I said earlier about it gradually getting more cloudy during the day. We're looking at Vueling flight 8354 and A320 that is arriving from Bilbao. Now Bilbao is in the north of Spain, hence the flight time under 2 hours, 1 hour and 44 minutes as we speak. The airplane is 9 years old. The first flight of this airplane was in May 2014, so a few more months, and it is going to celebrate its 10th birthday. Now, the next airplane after this one is going to be the first A350 of the day, Delta Airlines flight 74, arriving from Atlanta, Georgia. I also thought I saw the Corendon A350 underway back to Amsterdam, returning from Curaçao, but I don't recall what time it was expected to arrive. Dot. Right, the return of butt shots to AMS Live today. Yesterday we didn't see any because the runway was still too slippery. The pilots rolled out and vacated later. Now they're using the first exit again. And here is Delta Airlines flight 74. A350-900 returning to Amsterdam from Atlanta, Georgia. Took this airplane 7 hours and 10 minutes to get to where it is right now from Atlanta, and the airplane began flying in October 2019, making it 4 years old. The next airplane after this one is going to be a 777-200 from KLM, arriving from Johannesburg. First, let's look and listen. Nice. I like. Now, the next airplane coming up is a 777-200ER from KLM, returning home from Johannesburg, South Africa, KLM flight 592. This airplane left Johannesburg 10 hours and 43 minutes ago. It is 20 years old already. The first flight of this airplane was in October 2003. Still a bit hazy if you look to the north, even though visibility is 10 kilometers or more according to the METAR. Glide slope is not as visible as it was yesterday, unfortunately. And good morning to Vinny and Carola and all the others. Father Norman, good morning. The God Squad awaits the Quad Squad. Well, for now, we're going to see... Oh, we're once again at the crossroads of birds passing left and right. Making a bit of noise as they're doing that. Next up, EasyJet flight 27850 A319 arriving from Birmingham, 45 minutes of flight time. 15-year-old airplane, first flight February 2008, so turning 16 next month. After that, Delta Airlines flight 56, and that is the first A330 Neo, I think, of today's show. Also, a big thank you to Marianne for your super sticker. Per character exaggeratedly stretching his arm forward to offer a cup of coffee. Thank you so much for your virtual cup of coffee there, Marianne. Have to be careful not drinking too much coffee, otherwise I will need to go to the bathroom, and those are back at the parking place. The Schiphol area is in dire need of more restrooms, more tables, benches, places where people can hang out. And in all honesty, benches, we used to have tables over here, picnic tables, but now there is one bench, and I think there might be another one further ahead. Really spaced out far apart. Or is that just the one? No, I think there is another one as well. So the entire runway length, only 2 official benches where you can sit. They used to have picnic tables over here years ago. Anyway, Delta Airlines flight 56 is up next. Airbus A330 Neo. We see some flap tip vortices, if you look closely. Arriving from Salt Lake City. This Neo is 2 years old. First flight was in April 2021. Right, James says, 2 benches is still better than the complete lack of viewing areas at most UK airports. Is it that bad over there? Don't the airports have spotting areas like we do here? That is abysmal if that's true. And do the bigger UK airports generally have a panorama terrace where people can watch airplanes when they're at the airport, like we have over here at Schiphol? Right, let's quickly turn back. The next airplane is almost touching down already. KLM Flight 602 arriving from LAX, 787-10 Dreamliner. Alrighty, next up, Speedbird Flight 2540, Airbus A320 arriving from London Gatwick. Just vaguely visible. Flight time 46 minutes, which is just a bit above average. Normally around 40 minutes, sometimes 35 even. 21-year-old airplane, first flight November 2002. Chinese triple up next. After the Speedbird. China Cargo Airlines Flight 209 arriving from Shanghai, 777 freighter. And it is 3 minutes past 10. Looking for the first of the quad squad. The entire quad squad is coming in today. All the quad engined airplanes that frequent Schiphol. To start off with the Surinam Airways A340-300, which we should see soon. I think it was scheduled around 10 past 10. Then around 12:30, the Emirates A380 is expected, and not far behind it, I believe it was China Cargo Airlines, A747-400. Herr Wolf, Morgen, Servus, good to see you again, Wolfgang. Hope all is well. All right, JD, my man, good to see you as well. Hope everything is good over there in Düsseldorf. Celebrating 5 months of membership already. Happy to be a member of this great community, JD writes. Well, JD, it's always a pleasure to have you on the stream. Hopefully you'll have more time in the coming period than you had recently. Thank you for your continued support, JD. And if you're not going to be a member, then I hope at least you're going to stay a frequent visitor in the period to come. Aviation Weekly asks, what airplane types have I flown? I think basically 2, 737 and 777. Boring AF. Not a very frequent flyer, actually. I don't know if I've flown more airplane types. Don't recall. I think, yeah, 737s and 777s. Now, speaking of 777s, this is China Cargo Airlines flight 209. Arriving from Shanghai. Took 11 hours and 24 minutes to get here. 777 freighter, 2 years old. Now this airplane just turned 2. No, wait, huh? It's 2023 December. Should be 3 years old. Or no, I'm counting in. It's still early in the morning. The first flight was in December 2021, so that is indeed 2 years old and a little bit. Now, ladies and gentlemen, members, get out your play emojis. It is that time again. Our next airplane is an A320 Neo from Play, arriving from Reykjavik. I think yesterday it was the A321 Neo. Today the A320 Neo, flight 460. Flight time 2 hours and 48 minutes. Thought it normally was around 2.5 hours, so maybe they had to take a detour or something? Or am I mistaken in the flight time? Also hearing an ambulance. The airplane is 3 years old. First flight was in April 2020. And Stefan celebrating a month of membership, writing proud member crown, crown icon. Thank you so much for your support there, Stefan, and I hope you continue to like it. And I hope you are going to stay a proud member for many more months to come. Thanks for your continued support there. Dave asked if this was the new camera. It is. This is the new camera, the XA60, which is basically the XA40. The only difference... The only specs that are different are the ones that you guys don't see, but only I can in potential see. The screen is a bit bigger, 1/2 inch, and it has more pixels and it can turn the brightness up higher. Well, that's behind the scenes, so to speak. You don't see that, you don't get to see that, unfortunately. And the viewfinder also supposedly has more pixels. Now, I never use the electronic viewfinder. I always look at the screen, the flip screen. Otherwise, the specs are the same, although I did notice that you could now also opt for 400 times digital zoom, which is 800. 400 was already overkill. Now, the next airplane already touching down, EasyJet, arriving from London Gatwick. A little appetizer of 2 narrow bodies, and now it is we're going back to the wide bodies after this. It's the OELQE. And a nice little butt shot to boot. Go into the light, my child. Also nice to see the triple in the background. Our next airplane is a 777-200 from KLM, returning home from New York JFK, KLM flight 644. Flight time 6 hours and 8 minutes as we speak. 777-200 ER, 19 years old, first flight September 2004. Ah, Jackie, goedemorgen. And all other viewers who have joined in the meantime, welcome to the show. Hope you're doing well. If you just joined the show, welcome. Arrivals at Polderbaan at the moment. This is what it looks like to the south. This is what it looks like to the west. The sun shines, but it is a bit hazy. Looking to the east. Back to the north. We have duckies in the water. And Harry is also there, Harry the Heron. I counted 6 ducks earlier. And the Flying AMS Live logo up next. KLM flight 741. It is the 787-10 Dreamliner in the KLM 100 years livery, arriving from Cartagena. 4 years old, first flight June 2019. Hey Ross, good morning. Good to see you again. Hope all is well. Right. Some vague contrails are also visible. Really hard to make out any details right now because of the high clouds. Next up, Lufthansa flight 2302. A319 arriving from Munich, where it left from 1 hour and 14 minutes ago. Hey Marissa, goedemorgen. Now, this airplane is 19 years old, first flight June 2004. And the airplane after this one is the first of the Quad Squad. It is going to be Surinam Airways flight 994, the A340-300, returning to Amsterdam from Paramaribo. Not yet visible, but soon will be. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, here we go, the First of the quad squad is coming. It is Surinam Airways, flight 994, Airbus A340-300, arriving from Paramaribo, where it left from 8 hours and 45 minutes ago. 15-year-old airplane, first flight April 2008. And another Dreamliner 787-10 behind it, KLM flight 758, arriving from Panama City. We get a bonus butt shot from the A340. Now, if you're into butt shots from quad engine airplanes and you haven't done so already, drop a like. Make sure that this content gets spread to other people like you who are also into content such as this. Bonus butt shot from the quad. More Flying AMS Live logos. Comes close, but no cigar. It's not the real logo. Not enough flex in the wings. KLM flight 758, 787-10 Dreamliner, arriving from Panama City, where it left from 8 hours 58 minutes ago. Brand new airplane, began flying in May of 2023. Also a big thank you to Jendrosek, who writes, "I like big planes and I cannot lie." And celebrating 3 months of AMS Live membership with that message. Thank you for your continued support, Jendrosek. Hope that you are going to stay a valued member for many more months to come. But if not, then at least a returning visitor. Right, our next airplane is Croatia Airlines flight 450, Star Alliance livery, returning from Zagreb to Amsterdam, A320, 19 years old, first flight February 2004. always the same plane, isn't it? It's the 9A CTO. Just noticed that. Nice combo shot with the A340 in the background. Of course, most of you will know that from over here the airplanes still have a considerable taxi ahead of them to get back to the gate or the main platform area at least. This runway over here, the latest addition to the network of runways, has its dedicated ATC tower because of the distance. And is that the firefighter? Yeah. Have they been patrolling? Have they been doing a different round then? Main platform area is all the way over there. That's where the main control tower is. Airplanes landing on this runway still have like 10 minutes at least of taxi ahead of them to get back to the gate. Under favorable conditions. If the center runway is also being used, you have to go around the threshold via the north side or the south side. Me myself asks if I will stream on Sunday and Monday. I have no idea. People keep asking me regularly if I'm going to stream then and then, but I always determine last minute if I'm going to stream or not. It's very much weather dependent. If it's going to rain the entire day, then the answer is going to be no. If there's a few hours where it's going to be dry, then the answer is maybe. And if it's too far ahead in the future, the answer is I just don't know. I always decide, well, sometimes the evening before or on the morning of the day itself, whether or not I'm going out. It's very much weather dependent. Right, our next airplane is an A320 from Air Malta. Should be close by, according to flight radar. I'm not seeing anything just yet. Hey, Mr. Master, also present. Goedemorgen. Well, A320neo arriving from Malta should be coming soon. Question is, who will be here first? The firefighters that have just begun their daily patrol round and are going to make a round around the northern threshold of the runway to return on this side after that. Well, the A320 should be close by. Looking on flight radar. Oh wait, I do see a little light visually now. I think there is something I should be able to zoom in on. Vague AF, I know, but we'll be getting clearer soon. Rick, it is okay over here, but a bit windy, so definitely a bit more chilly than it was yesterday. Luckily the hand warmer and the heated glove are doing their thing. But a little bit more sunshine would be welcome. Other than that, perfectly fine over here. Lovely weather over here. Still relatively quiet. There are a few people on the scene now, but not as busy as it can get on summer days. Another Dreamliner from TUI. After this airplane, yeah. Air Malta, flight 394, A320neo, arriving from, let's see, Malta, apparently. The airplane has been flying now for 3 hours precisely, according to flight radar. Brand new, first flight February 2023, so celebrating its first birthday in a month from now. So we're basically looking at a baby plane. It's already slowed down significantly, I think. Is there a butt shot in the making? I think there is. You can nicely see through those engines. Always lovely to see. Indeed, Navy Jack, the fire trucks are coming to visit. However, not before the TUI Dreamliner lands. Firefighters are now turning around the corner, as you guys can see. Here we have TUI flight 391 arriving from Willemstad, Curaçao, Boeing 7878 Dreamliner, 9 years old, first flight November 2014. People surprised about Air Malta coming to Amsterdam from Malta. Yeah, shocker. Now, KLM A190 arriving from Zurich up next, but not before the firefighters. We have one fire truck leading the way. Nicely separated. You can see more people over there while they're honking. And Rick asks if he missed any DC4, DC6, DC7, 8, 9, 10, Boeing 707, 727 or 747 100 today. I think you did. You also missed AC/DC. So yeah, a lot of airplanes and things that you have missed today, Rick. Next time I'm going streaming, better put that alarm a bit earlier. Set that alarm a bit earlier. They were all in the beginning of the stream. If you had to look closely, I think if you are going to rewind the stream, you're not going to see it. It was so fast. Not a highway to hell, but we do have firefighters just in case it gets warm over here. Or if anybody gets thunderstruck. Right, Pegasus in A100 livery. The Flypigs special. Returning from Istanbul, A321 Neo, flight 1251. Istanbul always about 3 hours away. Today the flight a bit longer, 3 hours 26 minutes. Brand new airplane, first flight September 2023. Hadi Wilma, goedemorgen, good to see you as well. Oh yeah, and James, you're right, also Concorde. So Rick, you missed everything, just about everything. Cannot imagine the tremendous amount of sadness you must feel right now, but don't be too sad about it, Rick. There's plenty more to come. An A380 and a 747-400. It is the 100th Flypig. Congratulations. Or is this... there must be 100 years of Turkey celebrating with Mr. Atatürk at the tail, depicted at the tail, on the tail. Think the low temperatures is impacting my English as well. Nice butt shot from the Pegasus A321 Neo. Next up, another flying AMS Live logo, Qatar Airways, returning from Doha, flight 275, 7878 Dreamliner. And also thank you, Kaylee, for your continued support. 3 months of membership. And Kaylee writes, good morning from the UK. Good morning to you too from, well, bit of hazy Amsterdam. And good morning to all other viewers as well who have joined us in the meantime. The awaitions of the quad squad today. We already had one of the 3 land around 10 past 10, I think it was. The Surinam Airways A340. We're still waiting for the Emirates A380 and for a Boeing 747-400. Our next airplane is going to be an Embraer 190 from KLM, arriving from London City, and a 777-300ER behind it, arriving from Singapore from KLM. Big picture wise, let's have a look at the map. So we're waiting for these 2 airplanes. And the A380 now in Hungarian airspace, expected around 12:30 local time, and the China Airlines Cargo 747 is expected around 1:07 local time. I think there was also a Saudia Dreamliner in the 75 years special livery expected not long after the 747. Depending on the weather, we might stick around for that as well. The current meter shows 16 knot wind from 210 degrees. We have scattered clouds at 800 feet and the temperature is just around freezing at the moment. Satellite footage of the Netherlands. Well, this is where we are, showing the satellite because we are not going to see precipitation. You can see west, northwest is where the clouds at higher altitude are coming in from. So we are going to see a bit more cloudiness as the day progresses expectedly. Runway usage is still the same. We are standing alongside the only runway used for arrivals at the moment, and Kaagbaan and Alsmeerbaan are being used for departures. Let me quickly update the ticker with the latest weather and go back to the camera quickly. Paste and adjust the font size and color. There we go. Alrighty. Embraer 190 arrival from London City. KLM flight 986. $13-year-old airplane. First flight March 2010. Our next airplane is KLM flight 836, returning to Amsterdam from Singapore, no less. Flight time no longer mentioned. I have that glitch once again today with the app not showing the flight time when you click on it too late. What I can tell you is that this airplane is 3 years old and began flying in January of the year 2021. A couple of seagulls over here. Russell also paying us a visit. There you go, little buddy. Focus to autofocus, there we go. Sitting majestically on his throne. Hey there, Michael, morning. And that is the SR71, Rick says. It is indeed a Blackbird. And a little cousin as well over there. Now, let's see. Looks like we're going to see two ITA Airways airplanes in a few moments. Thought I heard a siren, but I guess I was wrong. Just looking around me. Our first airplane to arrive is going to be ITA Airways flight 120, a regular A320, and behind it is going to be ITA Airways flight 108, which is going to be an A320 Neo. The former arriving from Milan, the latter arriving from Rome. So two beautiful Italian Azzurri Coming in back to back. The A320 is flight 120 from Milan. 1 hour and 28 minutes of flight time under its belt. 15-year-old airplane, first flight December 2008, and the airplane behind it, the ITA flight 108, the A320 Neo, arriving from Rome. Bit longer flight time, of course, 2 hours and 3 minutes, and that is a 1-year-old airplane that had its first flight in December 2022. Unfortunately, no glide slope shots today, or at least not thus far. Not too optimistic that we are going to see improvement. I think it's only going to get worse, unfortunately. Changing weather is upon us. Warmer weather, more rainy, also a bit more windy. It was said the return of double-digit temperatures in Celsius. Not yet though. At the moment it is still around freezing with a 16 knot wind according to the METAR. So the wind chill is real. And the prettiness of the Azzurro as well. Also a little Italian butt shot to boot. Here we go. And good morning, Lance. Good to see you, mate. Hope all is well. Well, the sun was somewhat visible earlier. It is getting a bit more obscured. Then again, right in the zenith, there is still a contrail remnant visible. Patch of near blue sky. It is the only patch of near blue sky that I can see right now, mind you, so most of the sky is getting a bit hazy and ever more hazy. So this is the A320 Neo, the second Azzurro from ITA. This one arriving from Rome, flight 108, 1-year-old airplane, first flight December 2022. And totally overcast already in Leeuwarden, Rick says. Yeah, so even though on ground level the wind is blowing from the south, the clouds and the weather is actually coming from the northwest. Now Fredita says that in Den Bosch it is also very overcast, so apparently we are in the sunniest bit of the Netherlands over here in the middle then. Sad conclusion that this is now the best part of the country in terms of the weather and openness of the sky. That's not good. I want the weather from yesterday back. Want to return this weather to where it came from. Right, KLM flight 1224 up next, arriving from Paris, Charles de Gaulle, 737-800, flight time 43 minutes. 15-year-old airplane. First flight January 2008. And what do you guys see? What do you notice? Right, let's quickly turn back the camera to the north so that the wind doesn't blow in the mic. Our next airplane coming up is number 175, KLM flight 1516, returning to Amsterdam from Norwich, where this airplane left from 27 minutes ago. Just about visible, mostly because of the landing lights that have turned on. 7-year-old airplane, first flight September 2016. Let's see. Little moment of quiet, but it does look like everything is still coming this way. A couple of heavies are in the pipeline. By the looks of it, the next airplane after the Embraer 175 is going to be a banana, returning from Madrid. Turkish flight 1951 also coming this way, Airbus A330. And yeah, so there are a couple of airplanes coming. Ah yeah, 777-300 arriving from Cape Town. Also flying along the North Sea coast to the north, downwind. No Embraer butt shot for this airplane. Michael Ray says, good morning, Newcastle calling. Good morning. Mal says, good morning from Lancashire, UK. First time on your channel, great footage despite the weather. Thank you so much for your kind words, Mal. Glad you're liking the show so far, and I hope everyone else is doing that as well. If you are enjoying what you're seeing and you haven't done so already, don't forget to drop a like. Make sure that the people that don't know the channel yet, that might also be interested in this content, find it. By liking this stream, you help us do that. Now our next airplane is going to be a banana. DHL A300-600, arrival from Madrid. Now on Saturdays, if I recall correctly, there are often two. One also coming in from London Heathrow. And the super chat is working, JD. Thank you for that. Why would you think it wouldn't work? It's been working throughout, I think. Are people having issues with stream? En goedemorgen Anja. Overcast in Tilburg, but the sun is trying to get through. But you have to leave soon. Well, in that case, thanks for joining, Anja. Despite the short duration, or expected short duration. Right, so let's see. Has anything changed in the meantime? Runway usage is still the same. We're waiting for the Emirates A380 and also for the Boeing 747 behind it. The Emirates A380 is now in Slovakian airspace by the looks of it. Will be arriving around 12:25. Well, it's breaking up some time, was just around 12:30 earlier. There's a 747 behind it arriving from Mumbai. China Airlines cargo expected around 1:07 p.m. local time. The A340 we already saw earlier this morning. And if I recall correctly, there's also a Saudia special livery arriving from Jeddah that is expected not much later than the 747. Now, mind you, it's very likely that by the time these airplanes arrive, other runways have also opened up. Most of the time, what you see is that the airplanes we're waiting for are getting directed to different runways. Now, in the case of the center runway, that's not too bad because I have decent zoom on the camera and we can still see it quite decently from over here. If runway 27 were to open up, which I'm not expecting, but sometimes it does, that means it is going to land quite far away. For now, everything is still going to Polderbaan, which is the status quo longer now than I had anticipated. Normally speaking, under these wind conditions, runway 18 center would also open up as a secondary runway later in the morning. Now this morning they used runway 27 as a secondary runway because of slipperiness and icy bits on the center runway. So maybe they are going to resort to that again later in the morning, maybe not, time will tell. Anyway, the A300-600 arriving from Madrid is about to land after 2 hours and 8 minutes of flight. 32 years old, first flight October 1991. Where were you back then? What were you doing by the time this airplane began flying? Oh, it's breaking. Are we going to see a butt shot of the banana butt shot? We are. Not only a bonus butt shot from the A340, but also from the A300. Go into the light, my child. Beautiful. Now the question is, are we also going to see the second one? Is there a second one coming? That's the question, I should say. Now, quick turn back. Turkish Airlines flight 1951 about to touch down already. Airbus A330-300 arriving from Istanbul. Flight time no longer mentioned, but Istanbul, normally speaking, averages around 3 hours of flight time. This airplane, 9 years old, first flight October 2014. Come on, lads, a bit more reverser action. Oh! Well, or more butt shots. We have to compensate for yesterday, I suppose, when we did not get to see any butt shots at all. Runway was still too slippery to brake too violently, so they all rolled out yesterday. Are we now going to get super chats under the moniker of testing 1 2 3? Jinshin asks if this generous super chat, did it work? It did work, my man. Thank you so much for that. You could have also just chosen $1 or something if you wanted to test it. Thank you for that, my friend. It did work perfectly. No arguing that. Well, as the sun is only still vaguely shining, it is getting a bit grey over here. It's time for some more narrow bodies then. Our next airplane arriving from Geneva is an A320 Neo from EasyJet, flight 27866. Austrian registered, 1-year-old airplane, first flight December 2022. And Aphrodite and Marissa only differ 3 days in age. What a coincidence. Well, butt shot galore. Definitely some compensation for the lack of butt shots yesterday. And René sends a super sticker, not to test, just some coffee. Per character, exaggeratedly stretching his arm forward to offer a cup of coffee. I always like that description. It's also a nice sticker when you see the sticker, which I need to check later. I cannot see it over here, unfortunately. Thank you so much for that, René. I will definitely grab a cup when I get the chance. Thank you very much for that. Combo shot of the VW bird controller and the Embraer 175 arrival from Prague. KLM flight 1352. Bird controller being chased. Will it get overtaken? Most likely it will. Too much separation. Right, well, in that case, let's have a look at the next airplane already. And also a big thank you to Jinshin, who just now gifted 5 memberships. If you are one of the recipients, don't forget to say thank you very much to Jinshin. And welcome to the Aurora Sky Lounge, those 5 new members. Make sure to spam us to hell with the custom emojis that are now at your disposal. Thank you so much once again, Jinshin, and welcome to the Aurora Sky Lounge, those new members. And also, Jendrosek, thank you for your super chat. Jendrosek says, hello world. And hello to you too, Jendrosek. Thanks for that. Well, in the meantime, our next airplane coming in to land is the KLM 777-300ER arriving from Cape Town. You always need to zoom out quite substantially to capture it fully. Looks relatively tiny from the front and back, but it's definitely a long airplane. KLM flight 598, 11 years old, first flight May 2012. René says a Lamborghini bird controller would chase the birds away revving up. Well, if they're going to use Lamborghinis, then I'm definitely going to apply for any jobs that they might have. Hell, I might even volunteer. You've seen them drive very fast over here along the runway and over the runway, so Speeding is allowed over here, and what better way to speed than in a Lamborghini or any other fast car. I think that's the APU that we're hearing. Right. Hey, parallel arrivals have begun. I also see the first airplane that is going to the center runway now on flight radar. Flying parallel to the airplane that is following this airplane, Aeromexico Flight 25. This is KLM Flight 916, an Embraer 190 arriving from Southampton. 8-year-old airplane, first flight December 2015. Is it Captain Wheelie? Nah. Corporal Wheelie. Or Sergeant Wheelie. Still learning the tricks of the trade, but definitely a nice wheelie nonetheless. And good morning to Frank. Are you bringing us some good news or some bad news? Now. A very big thank you to Dave for a very generous super chat just now. And Dave writes, for all the fine ass shots today and especially the fire trucks. Mate, thank you so much for that. That is above and beyond. That is definitely not needed. That definitely wasn't necessary, but very much appreciated. Thank you so much for that, Dave. Let's hope we're going to see a few more bot shots, because I think we're not going to see the firefighters anymore. They only do a one-time occurrence each show, if they are showing up, that is. Mexico Flight 25, returning to Amsterdam from Mexico City. 7878 Dreamliner began flying in January 2015. Unfortunately, not the extensive reverser use that we often get to see and hear from them. Was a little bit, but unfortunately not as much as I would have like to see, or hear I should say. Now in the meantime, I think the arrivals are in progress. I'm not seeing any airplanes right now. In fact, it's hard to see the sun, even though interestingly there is still a contrail visible. I can also hear the airplane. Next up, KLM Flight 1002 737-700 arriving from London Heathrow. 14-year-old airplane, first flight March 2009. Rick asks about the old camera. No news yet. Thing is that they already said at the store that it was going to take 6 to 8 weeks, probably already a couple of weeks before they even did the assessment of whether or not it falls under the warranty or not. So I'm not expecting to hear anything from that anytime soon. Hey Gerrit, goedemorgen. Can I keep warm? Well, with more difficulty than yesterday, has to be said. It is a bit more windy, less sunny, means that it is a bit chillier. The hands are still decently warm, but the one that is using the hand warmer is a bit colder. Doesn't keep the hand as warm as the hand warmer does, which has heating elements on both sides of the hand. Unfortunately, it doesn't allow for very accurate following. You lose a bit of the touch, the sensitivity that you have when you use your bare hands. But that's okay. It is not an insurmountable discomfort. So it is still very doable over here. Parallel arrivals. This is German Airways, I think. Embraer 190. However, we also have Air France up. Embraer 170 arriving from Lyon, France. Up and away. Un petit booty shot. Une butt shot petite. De Air France up. And also, vielen Dank, Herr Austrian Wolf, who just now gifted 5 memberships. If you are one of the 5 recipients of the gifted memberships, don't forget to say Dankeschön, Herr Wolf. Thank you so much, Wolfgang, and welcome to the Aurora Sky Lounge. There's 5 new members. Now, our next airplane coming up is American Airlines. Flight 204 arriving from Philly. That was a bit of reversal usage, finally. Too bad it was in the beginning of the landing and not when it passed by us. Now, our next airplane to this runway is going to be the JetBlue A321neo, arriving from Boston, Massachusetts. In the meantime, parallel arrivals still in progress, and this is an E2 by the looks of it. Oh, a lot of labels on flight radar. E2 Embraer, arriving from Nuremberg? No, that's the Embraer 190 behind it. Quickly enable digital zoom so that we can also have a bit more details in picture when when an airplane lands on the center runway. Right now I'm not seeing any. The Embraer one, oh right. So was still flying in the clouds. The Embraer 190 arriving from Nuremberg. Where is it? There it is, a bit lower. Another one of the German Airways Embraer 190s flying for KLM, arriving from Nuremberg, flight 1884. This airplane departed from Nuremberg an hour ago. 16 years old, first flight January 2008, just as old as Chucky. Meanwhile, I see a couple of landing lights in the distance. Also traffic coming to Polderbaan. Alrighty, JetBlue A321 Neo arriving from Boston, Massachusetts up next. Flight 631. Brand new airplane. This airplane began flying in August last year, August 2023. As you guys can see, it looks like the sun is getting out a little bit momentarily. Really quiet as a mouse, these airplanes. Right, JetBlue buttshot with some more sunshine. How about that? Adrian informing us that the second DHL banana is also coming this way. That is good news. Our next airplane will be a KLM 737-800 arriving from Manchester. KLM flight 1072 has been flying now for 47 minutes from Manchester to where it is right now. This particular airplane, 15 years old, first flight March 2008. Right, our next airplane is the hybrid World to Fly Corendon A350. An A350 that Corendon Airlines has rented from World to Fly, dedicated to fly dedicatedly to Curaçao back and forth. A350-900 that began flying in May of 2023, so it is still less than a year old. Flight time on this particular flight so far has been 8 hours and 18 minutes. Now, Regular visitors of the stream will already know this airplane. If you're new to the channel or haven't seen this airplane before, the engine casings and the tail still have the logo of the rental company World to Fly on it. The logo of the company renting the airplane, Corendon, is on the fuselage. Right, ladies and gentlemen, members, get out your banana emojis. It is that time again. The next airplane is the second A300-600 of today. DHL flight 6730 arriving from London Heathrow. This airplane has been flying for 41 minutes on this flight. It's a bit younger than the previous airplane. This airplane began flying in September 1993. September 1993, ladies and gentlemen, 30 years old already. What were you doing back then? I think I was in the second to last grade of elementary school in 1993. Or maybe September, yeah, that's the beginning of the first of the year, the school year. 93, 94 was my second to last year, and 94 no, it was the beginning of my last year. Either way, here it is, still flying after 30 years. Always nice to read back what you guys were doing back in 1993. Right. Now, parallel arrivals still very much in progress. There is an Embraer 175 up next to the center runway. Where is it? Oh, too far to the left. Let's see, this is KLM flight 1792. Embraer 175 arriving from Munich. This airplane departed from Munich 1 hour and 15 minutes ago. The airplane, 6 years old, first flight January 2018. Right. Landing at our runway is EasyJet flight 23441, an A320 Neo arriving from Liverpool. This airplane departed from Liverpool 50 minutes ago. It is a 4-year-old airplane that began flying in April 2019. Third year at the Middle Technical School for Vinny TV Adventures. And indeed, amazing how time flies. In an hour or so from now, our next quad squad member is expected, the Emirates A380. As we get a little butt shot of the A320 Neo from EasyJet, let's turn around and have a look at another A320 Neo from EasyJet. Flight 23301 arriving from Edinburgh. Flight time an hour precisely according to flight radar. The airplane is 4 years old as well. Wasn't that the other one also 4 years old? Well, don't recall anymore. Either way, this one 4 years old, first flight June 2019. Meanwhile, parallel to this airplane, a Transavia returning from Innsbruck. That's the early morning flight. Transavia flight 6610 arriving from Innsbruck, 737-800, flight time 1 hour 21 minutes, 7-year-old airplane, first flight February 2016. I need to do a battery replacement. Right, so that orb over there supposedly is called the sun and provides warmth, normally speaking. In the meantime, I am getting out a spare battery for my heated glove that became cold quite quickly and severely. Just goes to show how much these things keep your hands warm under conditions such as today. Because when they stop working, you immediately notice. Right, replenished on at the highest setting, and we should be good to go again. Now, let's see. Looks like an Embraer 190 from Newcastle is coming as our next airplane. A little bit of a gap, a couple of airplanes to the center runway in the meantime. Questions about whether or not a runway inspection is in progress. I am not seeing anything happening right now. Does beg the question why that's A330 that I think I now see. That normally would have landed on Polderbaan is going to the center runway. KLM flight 767, Airbus A330-300 arrival from Bonaire. Flight time for this airplane 8 hours and 34 minutes. It is an 11-year-old airplane. First flight March 2012. Moped on the cycling path, passing by. And behind this airplane, also landing on the central runway, is going to be an Aegean A321neo, arriving from Athens. Hopefully you can hear it. Takes a few seconds for the sound to travel, of course, sound not being as fast as light. Duh, but you can still hear the reverser action. Well, at least I can. I hope you guys did too, but Sennheiser is quite sensitive. Then again, wind rumble can distort it, or at least can overpower the signal that you might otherwise be able to hear. Aegean Airlines flight 3624 is this, A321neo arriving from Athens. Flight time 3 hours and 10 minutes. 1-year-old airplane, first flight May 2022. Embraer 190 arriving from Newcastle. Up next for Polderbaan. I am already seeing the lights. So I think I am going to abort following the Aegean. This is a German Airways Embraer 190 flying for KLM, one of the rentals. At least until the winter season has passed, will they continue being used by KLM. Initially rented because a lot of the E2 Embraer fleet was grounded due to engine problems and lack of spare parts, I believe it was. This airplane flying as KLM flight 958, returning from Newcastle. Touching down after 54 minutes. 17-year-old airplane, first flight January 2007. Right, and now more airplanes to the center runway. Our next airplane will be a few minutes. Gives me some time to have another look at the status quo with you guys. So right now we are seeing that the A380 has entered German airspace and the 747 is crossing the border over from Slovakia to the Czech Republic. ITA A326 and 1:01 p.m. So that is still very constant. In terms of the weather, wind still from the south to southwest, 15 knot wind, few clouds at 1,500 feet. The air temperature +1. It's getting warm here. And also, let's have a look at the satellite footage. Let's do a refresh. Yeah, you can see, even though on ground level the winds are blowing from the south, the clouds are actually what looks more like from the west to northwest. Runway usage at the moment, okay, parallel arrivals and just 1/8 left being used for departure. So let me also update that in the ticker. The METAR, paste and adjust the font. And departures from 24 no longer, just 1/8 left, and arrivals 1/8 right, 1/8 C. There we go. Righty. Let's have a look. Another Embraer 175, KLM flight 17. No, that's the wrong label. Flight 1764, arrival from Frankfurt. Flight time 50 minutes. 6-year-old airplane, first flight November 2017. Also coming this way is a Boeing 737, which I'm going to point the camera to right now. Arriving from Birmingham. This is KLM flight 1422, 737-800. Left Birmingham 39 minutes ago. The airplane is 23 years old. First flight was in April 2000. There is a 777 from Qatar going to the center runway after this airplane has landed, so let's have a look at that in a moment. Oh, Rick has to go. See you on the next one as well then. It was nice to have you back in the chat again. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday, Rick. Our next airplane, well, that's a bit too much digital zoom. Still very far away. Qatar Airways flight 8205. Qatar Cargo, I should say. It's a 777 coming in from Doha, 777 freighter, 6 hours and 27 minutes underway, 5 years old. First flight of this airplane was in July 2018. Meanwhile, there's also an Air Arabia Maroc A320 arriving from Tangier. That is coming to Polderbaan. So it's going to be a quick pan after this has landed. Will not be able to follow the entire rollout. But we can establish that it has in fact landed right now. Just in time for the touchdown of Air Arabia Maroc A320. Bird controller saying hi with the lights and a wave. Meanwhile, Corendon Max 8. So I was also looking up the details. Visiting Amsterdam from Turkey, Antalya, where this airplane left from 4 hours ago. The Max 8 is 1 year old. First flight of this airplane was in May 2022. Alrighty. Let's see. When is traffic to Polderbaan? Ah, okay. The next traffic to Polderbaan is a 777 from Emirates Sky Cargo. That's good. Still a bit out though, so we have to make do with traffic to the center runway in the meantime, and it's an Embraer 190 Fest inbound to the center runway right now. This is KLM flight 1904 arriving from Hanover. Bit dense with the labels on flight radar. Need to zoom in a bit further. So then I click on the right one. Flight 1904, Embraer 190 arriving from Hanover. 14-minute flight thus far. The airplane 12 years old, first flight January 2012. So it turned 12 this month. Alright. Now the triple from Emirates Sky Cargo has become visible in the meantime. Arriving from Aguadilla, this is Emirates Sky Cargo flight 9914. It's a 777 freighter, and I sure hope it is heavy and will be using the reversers quite heavily. Flight time 7 hours 17 minutes so far to get from Aguadilla to where it is right now. This airplane began flying in October 2013, so it is 10 years old right now. Actually quite a few pedestrians, most of them now north of me, along the cycling path. Funnily enough, normally it is always busier behind me, back to the parking place, than in the other direction. Now it is the other way around. And you can see there are people over there at the parking place of the Spottersplatz itself. That was Captain Letdown flying this airplane, not using the reverser substantially. Bit of a bummer. Our next airplane is KLM Flight 1278, Boeing 737-800, arriving from Edinburgh. It is on the way now for 58 minutes. Has been flying since November 2010. 13 years already in the making. Iceland Air Max 8 will be following it. It is still further north. Unfortunately, today the visibility to the north hasn't been such that we are able to see more than one airplane at any one time. Aphrodite, my ribs are perfectly fine. Well, bit sensitive still when coughing or sneezing, but de facto I consider it healed. It's not bothering me at all. Went to the gym yesterday evening as well, and Monday as well. No issues pushing and pulling the weight that I normally do. Just being cautious that I'm not doing any exercises in the weeks leading up to my vacation that put stress on the back. Injury of back or ribs I want to avoid, but otherwise no issues whatsoever. Healed quite nicely and rapidly, most importantly. Still a bit of iciness where I am standing, but I like standing here because of the butt shots. It has now melting a little bit, kicking it away a bit with my shoes and opening it up with my heels. Our next airplane, Iceland Air Boeing Max 8, 737 Max 8 I should say, to be precise. Flight 500, arriving from Reykjavik. Flight time 2 hours 41 minutes. That is a nominal flight time. The airplane is 2 years old, first flight November 2021. Lately Iceland Air has been sending 2 airplanes over instead of 1. 2 MAX 8s, I'm not sure, I'm already pinching out to see if there is another one coming. I'm not seeing it just yet, but that doesn't mean there isn't one underway. And good morning, Russell, shooting in from cold Canada. Are they still expecting such low temperatures for North America? Saw it the other day, earlier in the week, with cold reaching so far south as to Texas, no less. Even the, how did they say it, the Florida Panhandle area might also be inflicted. But over in the northern states and in Canada it was exceedingly cold. Had to recalculate the Fahrenheit temperatures that I saw, but man, deep in the double-digit negative Celsius. So yeah, this is what the weather looks like over here. It is still, well, the sun is shining. Don't ask me if it is giving off any warmth. It isn't. You can also see a few openings in the sky looking to the west, but it's not very substantial. There's also one opening I can see over there in the southeast east. In terms of wind, this is what it looks like in chimney smoke. And I think we have to update the ticker pretty soon, because it looks like all inbound traffic is now coming to the Polderbaan once again. Interesting if that is true, and the A380 is expected in half an hour from now. Well, I'm not going to say anything. Yesterday I said things out loud and I think I jinxed something. And Ross says, I'm okay on the west coast. Forecast for just above 0C for the next few days. Well, get the barbecue out then. That calls for a celebration. Temperatures above freezing, time to get the barbecue out. Right. It's getting a bit more busy again for Polderbaan traffic, but unfortunately still only narrow bodies for the time being. Our next airplane is going to be KLM flight 1822, arriving from Berlin, 737-800, flight time 58 minutes, 15-year-old airplane, first flight April 2008. My baangebruik app on my phone still says center in use, but I think, well, if that was the case, then this airplane arriving from Berlin would have probably landed on center. Now, hopefully there will be a little gap in between the landing traffic so that I can update the ticker. I think de facto this is once again the only runway being used for arrivals at the moment. Ooh, nice! Marissa says that Aer Lingus is sending the retro livery again. It's still flying over the UK though, but it is upon us. It is coming. KLM butt shot, or I spoke too soon. Awesome. Right, our next airplane arriving from Bremen, KLM Flight 1754, Embraer 190. I'm going to call it Polderbaan 1, and the only runway being used for arrivals right now. I'm getting rid of 18C. Question is, will they open up runway 24 again? Hey John, Han, goedemorgen heren, morning gents. Right, the Embraer 190 arriving from Bremen. We haven't seen Captain Willy in a while. This looks promising, nice pitch. No, the nose is lowering already. No Captain Willy. Captain Willy keeps the nose elevated as long as possible. However, we are going to see another butt shot. And thank you all so much for 500 likes. If you are liking what you're seeing and you haven't contributed to the number of likes yet, don't forget to add to the pond of likes. It's the easiest way to help spread this content to other aviation enthusiasts who might not have seen the channel yet. And I'm glad you guys are liking it. Despite the low temperatures and the absence of sun, it has been a nice morning so far. Looking forward to see what the A380 is going to do with the center runway closed and having been in use so soon until the A380 arrives. I think the likelihood, well, again, no. I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to jinx it or risk jinxing it. I'm just saying 1 + 1 = 2. Oh, and Adrian says that there's a helicopter in the way. Okay. John asks, is it doable with the cold? Well, I am struggling mostly with my right hand, which I have a hand warmer in, but that doesn't warm the fingertips. The heated glove keeps the left hand nice and toasty, or at least not cold, from the fingertips until the bottom, the base of the hand. So it is the fingertips of the left hand, the right hand that is getting a bit cold. Otherwise, perfectly fine, well layered. In fact, I'm just wearing half of my ski equipment. The ski trousers, and over that rain trousers to block any wind. Now the ski pants are padded. Are padded, plural. Pants, a pair of trousers, ski socks over my regular socks, thick parka, 2 hats, a buff to keep the neck warm. I look a bit like the Michelin Man, but it does help keep you warm in what basically is a freezer. Right, time to say hi to the Embraer family members. Starting off with the regular Embraer 190 arriving from Hamburg, KLM flight 1780. Will be followed by an E2, cousin E2. Hey, and this is I think the first time since I have been here today that I'm seeing two airplanes. I think this is the first glide slope shot of the day. And Niels, goedemorgen, tuning in all the way from Delfzijl. And all other viewers who might have joined us in the meantime, good day to you too. We're awaiting the quad squad. That is the quad-engined airplanes that frequent Amsterdam Schiphol Airport. We already had one member land just past 10 o'clock this morning. The A340-300 from Surinam Airways. In the pipeline still are the Emirates A380, expected in half an hour or so from now. It's probably near the Dutch border already, and if it passes into Dutch airspace, we might be able to see the runway it is going to be assigned to on Omgevingsinfo Schiphol. Then around 1 o'clock, so in an hour or so from now, the 747-400 from China Airlines Cargo, Air China Cargo. A Chinese cargo 747 arriving from Mumbai. E2 Embraer up next, arriving from Stockholm, flight 1106 from KLM. And well, second glide slope shot. For some reason it has opened up a little bit to the north for the first time, allowing us to see two airplanes in one shot. Big ass engine, no winglets. It is the E2 Embraer 195, KLM flight 1106. Has been flying for an hour and 40 minutes to get here from Stockholm. The airplane a year old, first flight January 2023. And Anna says, I haven't seen the Air China 747 in a while. I also have to think and dig deep in my memory to think when I saw it last time. If I recall correctly, we did see it not too long ago, but not sure which airplane, which 747 I have seen more recently. Suparna also, haven't seen that in a while. Ooh. Oh no. I thought I saw some nice contrast in the clouds with some blue openings, but those weren't blue openings, those were just the lines that I have on my camera screen, the thirds to basically the raster that you can use to divide your screen into thirds, which makes leveling the horizon, among others, more easy to do when setting up. But I mistakenly thought it were openings in the clouds, and I thought it made a nice backdrop, but anyway, EasyJet, not Neo. Alrighty. Thought I heard another siren. It's one of those days where I have phantom sounds in my ears, thinking I'm hearing sirens when only once I actually heard one. Well, another glide slope shot. Too bad Jerry isn't here, or at least to my knowledge. If you are there, right, my chat window is acting up a little bit. We'll fix that later. This is Tarom flight 361, Boeing 737-700, arrival from Bucharest. 20 years old, first flight, October 2003. And another heavy behind it. Seven 737-700 with the one size fits all tail, which looks particularly tall on this airplane. I think if you were to be sitting on top of it, you would have quite a nice view of the surroundings. Must be a couple of stories high. Little butt shot. Let me see if I can quickly get back the chat window. Well, I hope is that the last message. Think no, still not completely back to the last message, or is it now? Let's see. Oh yeah, no, excellent, great. Okay, A382 Polderbaan has been confirmed now. It has entered Dutch airspace and it's making up for yesterday. That is good news, ladies and gentlemen. KLM flight 622, this is arriving from Atlanta, Georgia, or I should say having arrived from Atlanta, Georgia after 7 hours and 10 minutes. This is a 787-10 Dreamliner, 4 years old, first flight, December 2019. Okay, that was a strange horn that we heard. Not sure where that was coming from, what vehicle was making that sound. Next up, KLM flight 1740, Embraer 175 arriving from Luxembourg. 43 minutes of flight time. Which always surprises me that Luxembourg is roughly the same distance in terms of flight time as London is. While intuitively to me it feels like London is further away than Luxembourg is, but apparently it isn't, about equidistant. The airplane is 6 years old that we're looking at. First flight is June 2017. Let's see, Embraer 175, what is coming next? Okay, Embraer 190, flying base. Vueling A320 flying downwind. What altitude is it at? (3,400 feet already. I'm just checking to see if I can spot the Vueling already. If it's so low already, it might also do a short circuit and turn within what we normally would be able to see. But then the first step is finding the airplane in the sky so that you can follow it. And I'm not seeing it. Bummer. Then again, it will become visible sooner or later eventually. For now, this is the Embraer 175 arriving from Luxembourg, KLM flight 1740. We can add runway 24 to the list of runways in use in the ticker. We have proof over there. 24 has opened up 2 runways for departures, 1 for arrivals. Right, runway 24. Now, while we have a few moments to wait, let's have another quick look at the current status quo. Beginning with runway usage, let's refresh, and indeed confirmed. Polderbaan, we are standing approximately over here, is the only runway being used for arrivals at the moment. The A380 already having been confirmed to land on this runway. Kaagbaan, Aalsmeerbaan, used for departures. Current METAR says few clouds at 1500 feet, visibility 10 kilometers or more, 15 knot wind from 210 degrees. Temperature still 1 degree above zero, and no significant changes in the upcoming 2 hours are expected. Relatively high pressure, 1027 hectopascals. We're not expecting any precipitation, but we can have a look at the satellite footage. We are approximately over here. You can see that the wind at altitude is blowing from a different direction. These are the airplanes we are waiting for. The Emirates A380 is in Dutch airspace already, coming to the runway we are standing next to, and the China Airlines cargo arriving from Mumbai is coming. Is still expected around 1 o'clock. If I'm not mistaken, the Saudia Dreamliner also expected around that time. Now, quick delve into the ticker settings so that I can copy paste the METAR that we saw just now into the ticker for you guys. Niels asks if I also sometimes do streams in darkness. Well, I think that my sensor is too small to perform well in darkness. Low light may be doable, but over here, for instance, at Polderbaan, I think it's going to be really, really dark. I don't think you see that much. Maybe you would have to go to a different location, to the main platform area. Where there's more ambient light. Right, another 2 airplane glide slope shot. And engineer on board, I have never done a stream from Frankfurt, so I think you might be mistaken with someone else then. Two Embraer 190s back to back. The first one is KLM flight 1486 arriving from Humberside. Flight time 34 minutes. The airplane 15 years old. First flight November 2008. The next Embraer 190 is not from KLM but from BA City Flyer, arriving from London City. Hey, Mr. Biker, good afternoon to you too. Running late indeed, but not too late. Just in time for the A380. And also, the one and only queen of the show today, which is still expected in 45 minutes from now. Wouldn't be surprised if by then center has reopened and it's going to land on it. But at least we are going to get to see the A380 land on this very runway. Now, also, thank you, John, for just now becoming a member. Welcome to the Aurora Sky Lounge. Be sure to use those Emirates and A380 emojis that are now at your disposal when the A380 arrives in a minute. Well, in a couple of minutes. Right, Speedbird flight 8489, BA City Flyer between London City and Amsterdam. Touching down after 38 minutes of flight. That is par for the course. A nominal flight time was around 40 minutes on average. The airplane is 11 years old. The first flight of this airplane was back in April 2012. And the BA butt shot coming in. John says, just realized that I've escaped the small island I live on, so I'm able to join the channel at last. That begs the question, what island did you escape? Alcatraz? Right, well, Vueling in the meantime just touched down. EC mess. Alright. More narrow bodies for the time being, but the A380, where is it? It is coming this way. It is now flying over Markermeer in the direction of Purmerend. There are, I think, at least 3 airplanes preceding it. Embraer 175, A320, Embraer 190. To begin with, the Embraer 175, KLM flight 1856, returning from Düsseldorf, JD's hometown. Embraer 175, that is 7 years old. First flight of this airplane was in July 2016. This airplane has been flying for 28 minutes to get from Düsseldorf to where it is right now. And thank you, Abdul, who says great camera coverage. Glad you're enjoying it. Hope everybody is, of course. If you need to go to the bathroom, now's the time. If you need to grab a fresh cup of tea or coffee, do it now. You still have a few more minutes before the Emirates A380 is going to land, and it's going to land on this very runway. Now need to use additional zoom to see it land on center. It is coming to Polderbaan. I spy with my little eye on flight radar A777 arriving from Rio de Janeiro, flying off the coast of Rijnsburg right now. Also coming this way, hopefully. Privet Ludmila, who is tuning in from Primorsky in Russia. Good to see you again. Hope all is well. Next up, Retro Shamrock, Aer Lingus A320, flight 604 in the retro livery, a beautiful airplane. Going to see it up close once again today. Flight time an hour, coming to Amsterdam from Dublin. The airplane is 12 years old. It looks older because of the retro livery, but the first flight of this airplane was in February 2011. We saw the rugby team special livery yesterday, I think it was, or was it the day before yesterday? No, I think it was yesterday. And now we're going to see the retro livery. After that, an Embraer 190 from KLM arriving from Leeds, and I think the Emirates A380 is going to be next after that. And also a big thank you to Lionel, who just became a member. Thank you for your support, and don't forget you can now use the custom emojis for both the Emirates logo and the A380. Make sure to use them when you're ready for it. Retro butt shot coming in. What a lovely machine it is to look at. Wish they did more retro liveries. Those black tip noses, I like it a lot. And also Ball Scratchers, nice name. Thank you so much for becoming a member. Welcome to the club, welcome to the Aurora Sky Lounge. Be sure to use the custom emojis now at your disposal whenever you see fit. Now, where is the A380? There it is, turning in from the east. Quick look at the airplane preceding it. KLM flight 1546, arrival from Leeds, Embraer 190. Captain Willie, question mark? The answer is no, I think. No. Nose lowered already quite soon after touching down. Right. Next up, the number 4 worldwide most tracked by 604 people, Emirates flight 147. The daily flight between Dubai and Amsterdam Schiphol Airport. The Emirates A380-800 has been flying for 6 hours and 46 minutes to get to where it is from Dubai. It's a bit longer than normal. Ordinarily, it averages around 6.5 hours. So little bit of headwind perhaps. The airplane is 7 years old. The first flight was in February 2016. It is in the standard livery. Still the old standard livery. Amos Live members have access to the latest iteration with the ribbon tail. Further north and probably not yet visible for us to see is the 777 from KLM arriving from Rio de Janeiro. Will be following it, but I'm not yet seeing it. Maybe a bit lower. No. Doesn't matter, we'll see it soon enough. Right, the 777 at 8 o'clock, I think. Yeah, in the bottom end of the screen, also on the glide slope. Dual glide slope shot, 2 heavies. Quite a sight to behold. And slowly but surely the normal glide slope pattern with the diagonal is becoming apparent. The Emirates A380 in the standard livery. Landing on Polderbaan. Let's have a look and listen. Whoa! Not too bad, not too bad. We've heard them louder. But that was a very lovely landing still. Also nice lighting. Let's quickly pan back for our next airplane. The 777-200 arriving from Rio de Janeiro KLM flight 706. Returning home after having flown 10 hours and 37 minutes on this particular flight, and this airplane has been flying now since April 2004. Making it 19 years old. The PHBQG. Now folks, if you don't have to go anywhere, there is one 747 still expected around 1 o'clock. And then the quad squad is complete. We have seen the landing of the A380 and earlier the A340-300. The 747 is also still underway. There was also a Saudia special livery, 75 years. I think also expected around 1 o'clock, a bit later, perhaps a few minutes, but very close behind the 747. Nice KLM landing, keeping up the speed, vacating late, sooner to the gate. Also a big thank you to JD. Had to search the message because a lot of messages came by quickly after JD just now gifted 5 memberships. Don't forget to say thank you if you are one of the 5 recipients of the gifted memberships from JD. JD, thank you so much for that. And welcome to the Aurora Sky Lounge, the 5 new members. Our next airplane in the distance visible is Top Air Portugal Flight 670, an Airbus A320 returning to Amsterdam from Lisbon. Has been flying for 2 hours and 31 minutes to get to where it is right now. The airplane itself, 12 years old, first flight June 2011. Now I think it won't be too long before the 747 is entering Dutch airspace. Question is, what runway will it be assigned to? And also a big thank you to Marissa, celebrating 9 months of membership. And she writes 9 months, 4 days and counting. 9 months already. Thank you so much, Marissa, for your continued support. And also thank you for your contributions as a moderator. Thank you so much for that. Now, Ryanair 737 arriving from Dublin is flying base. That's always good news. 737s, you might think they're a dime in a dozen, but they can get nice and loud when you use the reversers on those airplane types. And if there's one carrier that often uses, of which the pilots often use the reversers at Schiphol, it is Ryanair. So I'm hoping we are going to see a loud landing, but maybe my hyping it up has jinxed it. It's the CS Tiny. CS Tiny. Me myself says China Airlines Cargo 747 begins descent. Let's see, where is it? Zooming out. Right. Northwest of Münster. It is approaching the border. Won't be too long before we will be able to see the runway assignment. I fear, but am hopeful at the same time. Let's see, Ryanair, according to flight radar, established on the glide slope, but where is it? No, that's a bit too far. Bingo. Well, just looking to the west, see I see bits of blue. I see a contrail in the distance. As we would say in Dutch, gekkigheid, craziness. Did not expect to see that. I thought it would only get darker and darker as the day would progress, but I'm happy to see that I have been proven wrong thus far. Now, Ryanair 737-800 flight 420 arriving from Dublin is what we are looking at in the distance still. Flight time 1 hour and a minute. 5-year-old airplane. First flight October 2018. Now, Also a big thank you to Liwe, who just now also gifted 5 memberships. That really isn't necessary, Liwe. You're doing more than enough as it is as a moderator, but thank you so much nonetheless. If you're one of the 5 recipients of Liwe's gifted memberships, don't forget to say thank you to Liwe. Welcome to the Aurora Sky Lounge. Be sure to use the custom emojis at your disposal whenever you see fit. And thank you once again, Liwe. Really uncalled for. You shouldn't have, but thank you so much nonetheless. If you look in the top left, you can see that the next airplane is also on the glide slope in the meantime. KLM flight 1986, arriving from Basel, Embraer 175. Yo, it is Big Al from warm Orlando. Have you reconsidered? You giving us some of your excess warmth and sunshine in exchange for some of the excess snow that we have over here. Still, I think it's a good deal. Tim says, how the hell are you surviving it out there, man? I was also enjoying the A380, but you've been standing in the cold for 3 hours. Layering and heated gloves, that's the secret. Well, I'm happy to hear that that wasn't jinxed in the end. Ryanair and the reversers. 737s, you might think they're boring airplanes, but they can get gnarly loud if the pilots choose to do so. But yeah, Tim, it is a matter of wrapping yourself in the right clothing. Multiple layers. I'm wearing ski clothes under the rain pants and the parka. Frank says, boy was a polar bear in a former life. Well, wouldn't be surprised if I were. Next up to Embraer 175s, back to back. You can see them both in the same shot already. All right, 747 to 18C, Marissa says. Not unexpected. Means I will have to enable the digital zoom before then. Right, KLM flight 1986 arriving from Basel, or having arrived from Basel, I should say. It has touched down in the meantime. 6 years old. And there is a butt shot in the making. Here we go. And again, Embraer 175, clearly recognizable from the front and from the back. If you look at the winglets, they're relatively tall. They're more outward facing than upward face. Well, they're more at a 45-degree angle, and those of the Embraer 190 are more vertically aligned. It's getting bluer over here. Don't know if that was the plan. I'm not too unhappy about it though. It was quite grey earlier. Happy to see a bit more lightness over here. Embraer 175, KLM flight 1060, arrival from Cardiff. Is the next airplane. 15 minutes underway. 6-year-old airplane, first flight January 2017. Turkish A321 also coming in. Let's see, where is the 747? All right. Right, and the Saudia Dreamliner is expected 13 minutes past 1. Was just having a look to see where the Saudia special livery is. Now, obviously, with the 747 having been assigned to center, the same is going to happen for the Saudia special livery. But since we're out here, I think it might be a nice last airplane after the 747 will have landed in 15 or so minutes from now. Bull Scratcher says only butt shot you can see on YouTube. Well, I'm not too sure about that. There was a very interesting video I saw a while back that apparently there was a loophole in the YouTube algorithm that you don't get demonetized or even banned when I think there was, what was it again? Something with clothing or something. Channels that were doing grocery no, not grocery hauls, shopping hauls. I don't know what they're called again, but it was let's just say adult rated under the moniker of testing certain clothing items. There were definitely some butt shots that you could also see in the snippets that that video showed me, which I only watched for educational purposes, of course. No, I think it was, don't remember anymore what it was. It looked like there was a loophole in the YouTube algorithm. But these are butt shots that are still allowed over here, or at least thus far YouTube hasn't contacted me, which is not to say that it's allowed, but I think it is. Either way, Turkish flight 1961 A321 arriving from Istanbul. Now touching down. 10-year-old airplane. The first flight of this airplane was in April 2013. Alright, Aphrodita has to go out for lunch. That sounds nice. Enjoy your lunch date. Try-on hauls, that was it. Indeed, Ross. Try-on hauls. And interestingly, I remember again where I saw it. It was a fitness YouTube channel that basically showed a snippet saying that apparently the algorithm got hacked or had a loophole. Certain channels that have try-on hauls show people trying on lingerie items, and it gets, well, I think normally speaking it would not be allowed, but for some reason it was still on YouTube. Big Al says you're Professor Buttshot. That's a nice nickname. You're watching AMS Live. My name is Professor Buttshot. Nice nickname. I think we have to save that one and keep using it. For those of you getting withdrawals from Embraers, they're also flying out over my head, not only just in. Anyway, Vueling A320 arriving from Barcelona, flight 8315. 8-year-old airplane, first flight November 2015. Frank says, I suspect you like butterscotch. Butterscotch chocolate. Well, I never say no to good butterscotch. Absolutely. Yo! The Ultimate has also arrived. In the form of a super sticker, no less. Shiba dog raising an arm to greet someone, asking how's it going? How are you doing? Good to see you, mate. Just in time. Well, you missed 2 of the 3 Quad Squad members, but the 747 is in Dutch airspace, unfortunately going to runway center, which reminds me, now that I have the time for it, re-enable digital zoom. Hope you're not sweating your balls off in the summer heat there, Alvin. Alrighty, I think this looks, yeah, this is the SkyTeam livery Embraer 190 from KLM itself. KLM flight 1056, returning from Bristol. And even though the nose cone has been updated, the color does look a little bit off compared to the rest of the fuselage. Or is it just white? Hard to see. I think it might be just white. Rancid today, and tomorrow's 39 degrees. Holy cow. That is quite warm there. And digging a hole will only get you warmer, mate. How about you do like what Al Bundy used to do? Take the family, get a cooling bag, a cooling case and a few beach chairs and just sit in the local supermarket. Now, wobbling left and right a little bit is a 737 from Transavia. Flight 106, returning from, here we go, Akureyri. Which I suspect is in Turkey somewhere. Now, anybody speaking Turkish, don't get mad at my bad pronunciation. I know it is off. Probably by a lot. Anyway, almost back at Dutch ground. Having flown 2 hours and 32 minutes. The airplane 6 years old. First flight April 2017. And I agree, Frank, if you're talking about legends, Al Bundy is definitely one. Back in the day, you could say things on TV that these days all snowflakes would melt over. Snowflakes having a meltdown is what would happen. Alright, I now see an Embraer 190 on flight radar going to the center runway. So it has begun. Right, and the 747 is over the province of North Holland, flying north of Purmerend. Also coming this way, slowly but surely. In the meantime, we can have a look at the Embraer 190, the first airplane to the center runway. Over there, with a bit of additional digital zoom. Let's see. Wind also has picked up a little bit. I can see it already. Yeah, but I think we can still manage without image stabilization. Probably. Yeah, this is still decent. Half decent at least. Influx of narrow bodies and one queen completing the quad squad. Even a bit of blue looking to the north. Amazing. What a difference with earlier around the beginning of the stream. Our next airplane is an Embraer 175 arriving from Teesside or Darlington, KLM flight 1534. Flight time 44 minutes as we speak. 5-year-old airplane, first flight April 2018. And there's another airplane behind it somewhere, 737 arriving from Manchester. Wasn't able to pick up on it just yet. Spacing is a bit too big. You can see the windmills in the background also spinning a bit more actively than they were doing earlier in the stream. Well, big picture wise, even though the sun is still obscured by some clouds, the western half, can you call that a hemisphere? The western half of what I can see of sky over here is relatively blue actually, which it hasn't been since I have been here. The east still very much cloudy, overcast. So it looks like above the sea the clouds are disappearing a little bit, while over land they are still in place. Bull Scratcher says weather looks really nice. It does look nice, but mind you, it is still cold, around freezing, and with the constant wind. If I didn't have the heated gloves with me, I wouldn't have been able to hold out for such a long time out here. That is definitely what makes it a bit tough to be in. Luckily, the heated gloves work a treat. Our next airplane is a 737-800 KLM flight 1074 arriving from Manchester, where it departed 45 minutes ago. Wind picking up, also causing a bit more vibrations. Let's see what image stabilizer enabled does to reduce that. There we go. So, first flight was in May 2008, making this airplane 15 years old. And I spy with my little eye a Queen of the Sky completing the Quad Squad, the third quad-engined airplane of the show, and frequenting Schiphol Airport. We saw the Surinam Airways A340-300 land around 10 o'clock, 10 past 10. Half an hour ago, the Emirates A380 landing on Polderbaan no less. And this is China Airlines Cargo flight 5685 arriving from Mumbai, 747-400. 747-400 freighter, I should say. Left Indian ground 8 hours and 53 minutes ago, and this airplane began flying in November of the year 2001, making it 22 years old, ladies and gentlemen. Just to show you what it looks like from over here. Back to the digital zoom. Only a little bit needed. Now expected in 13 minutes from now is a special livery Saudia Dreamliner arriving from Jeddah. It's the special 75 years livery. I'm thinking sticking around for that and making that the last airplane of the day. Undoubtedly it's going to land on center as well. And as you can see, you can still see it decently from over here. Little bit of distortion from a butt shot from Vueling. Flight 1377 arriving from Alicante. A320. Now, Also a big thank you to JD for just now gifting another 5 memberships. That is above and beyond, mate. Thank you so much for that. Also, if you're one of the recipients of the gifted memberships by JD just now, don't forget to say thank you. And also a big thank you to Austrian Wolf, who just now gifted 5 memberships as well. Thank you so much, Austrian Wolf, but really you shouldn't have. You're doing more than enough as a moderator as it is already. Now, if you are one of the recipients of the gifted memberships of Austrian Wolf, don't forget to say thank you to Austrian Wolf. Or just say Dankeschön to both of them. Right, Han is signing off. Thanks for joining, Han. Always a pleasure. Hope to see you on the next one. Enjoy the rest of your day and maybe weekend. Look at this, ladies and gentlemen. The sun is actually shining over here for the first time. First time since we have been live here is the sun actually not obstructed by any form of cloud. Which means that I can say good day to you all. First time that you guys can see my shadow. Alright. E2 Embraer going to center right now, arriving from Billund, flight 1344. 48 minutes of flight time. 2-year-old airplane, first flight October 2021. And a lot Embraer 175 behind it, flight 263, arriving from Warsaw. Just checking flight radar. Got quite a few narrow bodies coming in once again. The traffic is also coming to the Polderbaan. Albeit still a bit out. Ah, there's also a Qatar triple coming this way by the looks of it. Hopefully you guys heard it, that noise that I mentioned earlier, that typical sound that you hear when the E2 Embraers spool up or change their throttle. Hard to describe the sound, but it is very unique to the E2 Embraers. Once you've heard it and know it's from the E2, you instantaneously recognize it from then on forward. More Star Alliance special liveries. The lot Embraer 175 arriving from Warsaw. Turkish A321 arriving from Istanbul is behind it. Oh, is the 737 arriving from Aberdeen also going there, or is it turning onto the Polderbaan glide slope? It looks like whale noises. That is definitely a way to describe it. Alright. Right, so it looks like the airplanes are now all going to center for some reason. I think we know why. Bird controller is doing an inspection. That is why traffic now landing on the center runway. Oh, it's Anadolu Jet, not Turkish. It is a subsidiary of Turkish, but officially Anadolu Jet A321. And let's see. So far, all traffic still seems to be going to center. Oh no, wait. It does look like the Air France is turning now to the south, more west of the other airplanes. So I think that might be the first airplane to land on the Polderbaan once again. Alrighty, this would be a KLM 737-700 arriving from Aberdeen. KLM flight 1444, flight time an hour, 12 years old, first flight February 2011. Zoomed in quite substantially in the digital zoom, making it a bit pixelated. This looks better. Maybe a bit too far zoomed out. It's funny to see that how busy as busy as it was earlier over here, now most people have gone again. So you see that a lot of people actually come out, especially for the A380. Right, Max 8 up next from TUI. Arriving from Salem, wherever that may be. Let's see, that is an hour and 37 minutes of flight time, so it's not too far away. Scandinavia or something? Oh, multitasking. Best to refrain from it. I was also having a look on Flight Radar to see if I could spot the Saudia Dreamliner already. Don't see it just yet. I do see a Qatar triple arriving from Doha on the glide slope. 2 airplanes behind this one. Ah, thank you, Nico, Sweden. Salen is in Sweden. Right, wait, that's too far. There we go. The next airplane to Polderbaan also becoming visible. Air France flight 1640 A320 arriving from Paris Charles de Gaulle. Flight time 44 minutes, that is par for the course. And this airplane is 22 years old already. First flight made 2001. And there's another Qatar triple that is also coming on this runway. That is nice. Two triples, and they're also nicely spaced, so we can see them both. Also an Aalscholver, I believe it's called in Dutch, doing some evasive maneuvers. Right. Qatar triple going to center. There's also a Qatar triple coming this way on Polderbaan. Right, and from one Qatar triple to the next. This is China Cargo flight 8158. Arriving from Panama City. It is a 777 freighter. Flight time 9 hours and 3 minutes. The airplane is 4 years old. Its first flight was in July 2019. Let's hope it is a bit heavily loaded. Also, a queen going back to China. We're even going to get a butt shot to boot. 777 butt shot. How about that? Alrighty, now it's getting a bit more busy with traffic going to this runway. However, the last airplane of the day is also nearing by. Where is it? Still far away. I think this is it. Yeah. Means we can do with one more landing at Polderbaan before going to the Saudia special livery Dreamliner. This is KLM flight 1414, arriving from Lyon, France. 737-800, has been flying for an hour and 18 minutes to get here. The airplane itself, 4 years old. First flight of this airplane was in March 2019. Right, last airplane of the day for today, ladies and gentlemen. It is Saudia flight 215, returning from Jeddah in the Saudia 75 years special livery. It's a special livery, albeit a subtle one. Boeing 7879 Dreamliner. This airplane has been flying for 6 hours and 16 minutes to get to where it is from Jeddah. Has been flying for total now for 6 years. The airplane began flying for the first time in March 2017. The tail particularly a bit different, and it has the 75 on the side behind the wings. A little bit of reverser being used there. And we're ending the show with a butt shot of a KLM 737. Folks, I am going to wrap it up. My second battery has also died on the hand warmer, so that is a sign. Oh, the hand warmer and the glove both simultaneously have stopped working. That's a sign that it's time for me to wrap it up. Thank you all so much for joining me here today. I had a great time and I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I have. If you haven't done so already but you did like the show, don't forget to drop a like. If you want to stay updated of upcoming live streams, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon. I'm hoping that I can do another stream tomorrow, but I'm not sure what the weather is going to be like. I will have a look tonight and tomorrow, but I'm not promising anything. I'm just hoping that I can go out tomorrow, maybe on Monday, but not sure. Nothing is certain ever over here at Schiphol Airport. thanks everyone for joining me here today, and a big thanks to everybody who became a member or maybe gifted memberships. Thanks to everyone for your super chats and super stickers. Your support is tremendous, and the channel would not be anything without you guys. Thank you all so much for that. A big thank you also to the moderators who once again today kept the stream and chat accessible and friendly. I hope you guys had fun. I sure have. Stay dry, be safe. Hope to see you on the next one, and hopefully that is going to be very soon. Enjoy the rest of your day, and bye for now.